one of the most sort of important pieces of kit you'll see most players use, leg straps. The last thing you want is if you're being hit or people reach on you, your legs are moving together, or obviously some players suffer from spasms or other movements in the legs, so it just really helps your legs become part of your frame. I guess for players that have leg movement or trunk movement, they can then use the hips to control the chair. Same again for me with the foot strap. Again, pretty standard thing on most chairs. Some players probably opt not to use them, but it just helps you become connected with the chair. For me, when gloving up, I like to use an underglove. Essentially, it's just a runner's glove that I use. A couple of the other players on the GB team use them. It's just a thin glove that will go underneath your main glove. Main gloves I use are a shower glove. I tape red rubber to them just for longevity, really. Helps with the gripping on the wheel as well, but it is primarily just for longevity. Players will use different types of gloves. Some leather or some are more grippy. These have got sort of textured fingers, so helps obviously people with less hand function. In terms of sleeves, I like to wear a thicker underlayer. I find it just helps protect your skin. So I guess found out through experience, really had a couple of skin issues. Sort of where your skin rips from friction on the wheel, so I like to just have it in and around the elbow, probably just above the elbow. That's where I personally find it most beneficial. And then straight on top of that, I just put a standard sleeve. Most players in the game wear them. Probably only a few that don't, to be honest. Again, just helps with protection of the arms. Saves your arms getting scarred and battered, really. So yeah, I do that for both arms. So that's the sleeves. Then before I glove up, I wear a binder. Again, the purpose of some players just wear a binder. I wear a binder with some gel in it. It's probably a bit of an overkill, but had skin issues in the past where your sides are rubbing on the frame during like big hits and gameplay, so I like to just have the binder on. Most spinal injured players wear a binder for a number of reasons: skin protection, blood pressure issues, but mine is primarily just for protection. The last thing I want is my skin breaking down or opening back up, so I just like it so it sits on the inside of the posts. Just protects me from the sharpness of the corner pads. And then I have the chest strap. Again, anyone without trunk function will use a chest strap. There's all different ones. I just use a Melrose one. Some players will use weightlifting belts, some players will use similar ones to this, a thinner one. All depends on personal preference, really. There's no right or wrong answer as to what you want to use. I guess the purpose of this is, again, to really make yourself at one with the chair. So you'll see players quite often getting assistance pulling the straps tight. You want to really feel connected to your chair. You don't really want to wobble around in it. I guess some players might like the freedom if they've got a little bit of movement, but most of us like to be nice and tight in. So then onto like a ratchet strap for your hips. All chairs will typically come with some sort of strap. You want a ratchet strap. Reasons being they're a lot stronger than a fabric strap. And again, it's really important that your hips are tight into the chair. I think if you're not tight into the chair, you won't have full control over it. So you always want to ratchet in as well as you can. That's the same across all classifications and players. Particularly internationally, you won't see any players that don't use a ratchet. So down to the gloves. As I mentioned, I use these inner gloves. Yeah, find them comfy. Stops my sweaty palms getting into my actual gloves. which is obviously just a personal preference thing when you're playing the game, really. Some players won't use any gloves underneath. They'll just go barehanded. And then, to be honest, I'm probably one of 4 players that use these type of gloves. Again, it's just personal preference. I prefer it because my hands sweat a lot, and otherwise these gloves end up wet. And then you find you've got sort of like slippiness when you're trying to push. So, again, this glove I chose. I used to wear a different glove. I used to use a leather glove. I much prefer the fingers on these. They're a lot stickier. Helps with obviously limited hand function, grabbing the ball. And then obviously I've taped the red rubber on for longevity and extra grip on the wheel. So I'll pop that on and then show you how I tape up. So the tape most of us use is this scapper tape. Comes in a variety of colours. Essentially it's like an army sniper tape, so it's cloth fabric tape. Yeah, so I'll show you how I tape up. Just like to start around the glove to make sure the glove's nice and tight to my hand. And then I'll just literally wrap it the same way down over the sleeve, so the glove and sleeve become one. Not too tight, not too loose, and then just fasten it at the bottom. Do that for both hands, so obviously got tape across there, helps the rubber stay in place, the rubber itself, and then tape to hold the bottom of the rubber in and the glove on. And do that the same for both hands. And then one last thing I will use, obviously now fully kitted up, is some glue. I use this particular one, other players use different ones. Again, it's all about personal preference. There's a few of us that use this one, a few of us that use a different type. I use it for a number of reasons, I guess. I like sticky wheels, I like the contact when I'm pushing. Obviously it helps with ball handling, ball protection. Yeah, most players will use glue. So I'll just put that on the palms. I'm probably quite generous with it, to be honest.
No point players use more?
No, high pointers use it, Stu Robinson uses it, Jamie uses it. Literally everybody in the GB squad, probably bar one player uses glue. Internationally it's really common. Canadian guys, US guys, Aussies, everybody uses it. I just like to get it all over, so it's got a nice coverage. It's obviously a lot nicer when it's warmed up, so it's not as clumpy, but I just find that it helps. Obviously you can see on the wheels they're already sticky, but nice fresh coating of the stickiness just helps them get them gripped up, ready to play. And that's me kitted up.